Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series on the life divine with our beloved Ranga. We are continuing in our chapter, the evolutionary process, ascent and integration, and we're on page 744, beginning with, "But man not only turns."
So, as is our normal practice, we will just read the summary of the previous para so that we have the continuity. As evolution rises to the level of man, leaving the animal behind, the human being becomes conscious enough to look all around him, and he tries to master what is around him and below him. He uses his knowledge and will to become master of his environment. Around him is nature, and below him is matter is below him, and the animal is below him, the plants are below him. So he tries to become master of these things. He uses them for his own benefit. He uses his knowledge and will to become master of his environment. The secret soul in plant. The secret soul in plant, being at a material vital level, extracts and takes the maximum out of matter and life. The intensity of this physical vital force is strong, much more so than in the animal, which now is at a higher level of physical vital vibrations. The plant is at a material vital level, and the animal is at a physical vital vibrations. Okay, so the animal has more than the plant. It has the physical mind, which the plant does not have. Therefore, in comparison to the plant, it has less of the purely physical vital force. What Shebda is saying is that the plant has got more physical vital force than the animal, because the animal has got something superior. So it concentrates on that and does not care so much for the other element. Therefore, in comparison to the plant, it has less of the purely physical vital force. The physical mind is more important to the animal than the vegetal vitality. Okay. When the evolution comes to man, he has a mind of intelligence in excess to the plant or animal. He has what plant and animal doesn't have, that is a mind of intelligence. Man occupies himself with this new element, abandons the lower intensities of vitalized matter and mentalized matter. He doesn't care so much for what the animal bothers about, nor what the plant is busy with. His urge towards intellectual, aesthetic, ethical and spiritual activities takes the first place over other lower occupations. The lower intensities are not abandoned fully, but are taken up, enlarged, subtilized, intellectualized. He begins to seek for a higher perfection, unlike the animal, which remains satisfied with what nature has provided it. So the animal takes advantage of whatever is there. If water is there, he drinks it. If plants are there with fruits, the animal eats it. But man doesn't, he goes beyond that. He looks at water and says, how can I utilize this water? So he thinks of a wheel, and the river is coming and the wheel turns and he grinds his wheat, which the animal doesn't do. So he is using material things and vital things and intellectualizing them. That's what he's doing. Okay? So man also eats the fruit of the plant. But the animal just eats and is satisfied. But man says, I like this fruit. He starts thinking, why not I plant another plant? So he makes an orchard. So this is what Srila means by intellectualizing what the animal and the plant do. Okay, so that's what he has said. Now
I have a small humorous remembrance. When we were doing the flower book, Richard went to Mother, and Mother told him about vegetal things. He said, "Mother, there's no word vegetal." Mother said, "Look it up in the dictionary."
vegetal does exist. Vegetable and vegetal. Vegetable refers to the vegetables that the plant produces. Vegetal means that which belonging to the plant. To the vegetational world, which means, yeah. Oh, he said that to Mother?
Yeah.
Wow. It's true that Mother did not know English very well, but it doesn't mean to say that
If she needed to know, she could know anything.
but to challenge Mother and say that they were.
Yeah.
But Richard was he's still living. He's a special soul.
Yeah, he's in care. I think he's 93.
He has very interesting experiences. Okay, so now we come to the para that we have to read today. So Srimad has discussed matter, he has discussed the plant, and he has discussed the animal. Now he comes to man. But man not only turns his gaze downwards and around him when he has reached his higher level, but upwards towards what is above him and inward towards what is occult within him. So, what is there above him? There is a consciousness higher than the mind, the self, that is there. Then there is the psychic being within him. So these are the two things that he looks to. He is looking into himself and looking upwards, okay, not only downwards. In him, not only the downward gaze of the universal being in the evolution has become conscious, but its conscious upward and inward gaze also develops. Now this is interesting. He is using the word universal being. Okay, so we have seen already that whatever is there in man is there also in the universe, right from the highest to the lowest. Now, this universal being is interesting. The universal being is the universal witness consciousness apart from man. There is a witness consciousness looking, and man, when he experiences it, he himself becomes a witness. That's the self. So that also is there in man. Apart from, so we should think that there is only a soul in man. There is also a universal soul. Shivananda often uses the word universal soul.
I also think we should look at the word occult within him.
Yeah.
Because occult here does not mean something that the West understands.
No,
It
exactly.
simply means hidden.
Occult means hidden. That's the meaning of the word occult. You are right. In the West, the word occult is used in a different sense. Quite right. In him, not only the downward gaze of the universal being in the evolution has become conscious, but its conscious upward and inward gaze also develops in man, not in the animal. The animal lives as if satisfied with what nature has done for it. If there is any upward gaze of the secret spirit within its animal being, it has nothing consciously to do with it. That is still nature's business. It is man who first makes this upward gaze consciously his own business. Now this is very interesting. Shivananda is giving the possibility of an upward gaze and inward gaze even to the animal. He is saying it is there, secretly there, but the animal is not conscious of it.
Yeah, but it has memory.
Memory is there, but memory is not a spiritual. It belongs to the nature.
Yes.
Memory is created by nature.
Yes.
So, this is what Swamdev is saying, that he is admitting, he is saying, if there is any upward gaze of the secret spirit within the animal being, it has nothing consciously to do with it. That is still nature's business.
If there is.
Yeah, that is because, in fact, there are, okay, there many cats. There was one cat in the ashram which had psychic relations with other cats. There is a very interesting comment of Srivamda's in which there was a cat called Bushy. Okay. Now that Bushy was a male. Okay. So, and mother used to experiment with cats. There were a lot of cats
Yes.
at one time. Kiki is one.
Yes, Kiki.
There
Yes.
is a little booklet also on Kiki. Okay. Now, Srivamda says Bushy, I think I've said this before, Bushy had a physical relation with such and such a cat. He had a vital relation with another such cat. And his relation with the third cat was psychic.
No, you didn't tell us that before.
Yeah, it is there.
Oh.
In the evening talks, it is there. So, what does it mean? So, Srivamda is saying, if he has not said, finished, the animal cannot look inside and outside. He is not saying that. He is saying the element is there, but the cat is not concerned with it. Interesting, okay? That's why he is mentioning it. Take the trouble of mentioning it in so many words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 words he is using, not uselessly. This exists in animals also. So, not the upward, but the psychic does exist in animals. It has nothing consciously to do with it, that is still nature's business. It is man who first makes this upward gaze consciously his own business. For already by his possession of intelligent will, deformed ray of the gnosis though it may be, okay, though it be, so our intelligent will is really the supramental, but getting denser and denser and denser, and it is still retains its intelligence, but the knowledge aspect is gone. This is very similar. Swamdev is using the word
Deformed ray.
deformed. Now, it's interesting to see the different worlds which are there: ether, air, fire, water, earth. Each one has got a different density. So, when from one level of density you are coming to another level of density, there is a deformation. But the deformation is not real, it is apparent. Best example, take a stick, put it in water, look at it, you will see as if it is bent. This is the best example. So, from one medium, when you are coming to another medium, there is a deformation. So, that's what Swami is saying. So, the supramental gets deformed when it comes down into the lower, denser material. It gets deformed. But still it retains intelligence. When it goes down to the animal, the supermind, it becomes instinct, not intelligence anymore.
Yes.
Okay, so for already by his possession of intelligent will, which is deformed ray of the gnosis though it be, he begins to put on the double nature of Satchidananda. Okay, double nature, up and down. He is no longer like the animal, an undeveloped conscious being entirely driven by Prakriti, a slave of the executive force, played with by the mechanical energies of nature, but has begun to be a developing conscious soul or Purusha, interfering with what was her sole affair, wishing to have a say in it and eventually to be master. The animal is completely subject to nature. It does exactly what nature is asking to. Even the average man does that. He is subject to nature, but he has a mind which fights against his own fate. He fights against it. He says, there is suffering, I don't want it. If there is suffering in a cat or a dog, if it breaks a leg, it has nothing to repair its leg. It just tolerates it. But man, no. This happened to me, I don't want it. I want to change it. So he is fighting nature to change it. Yes. Okay, that's what Swami is mentioning. And he wants to become master. Not only he wants to control nature, his own nature, but become master. Okay.
And here we would have to use the cap N for nature.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, we're not talking about his nature or
Yes.
regular nature. It's capital.
Cap nature is universal nature,
Yes.
and the individual nature with a lowercase n is your body, mind, life. Okay, so he cannot. Wishing to have a say in it. Okay, he accepts nature's influence on him, but he wants to have his own say, and eventually to be the master. He cannot do it yet. He is too much in her meshes, too much involved in her established mechanism. But he feels, though as yet too vaguely and uncertainly, that the spirit within him wishes to rise to yet higher heights, to widen its bounds. Something within, something occult, something that is not the intention of the deeper conscious soul nature, the Purusha Prakriti, to be satisfied with his present lowness and limitations. So, nature in the animal is satisfied with its own condition, but not man. Man says, I do not want to be satisfied with my present lowness and limitations. I want something more.
But science is doing this very quickly.
Science is doing this, it's trying to master the environment, and in the process it has discovered that there are more forces than only material forces. We have a still long way to go, but still the change is beginning to come. No doubt about it. So, soul nature, Purusha Prakriti, to be satisfied with his present lowness and limitations. The sentence is a little involved. So, what he is saying, the man knows that it is not the intention of the deeper conscious soul nature. My soul does not want to be satisfied with my ignorance, with my suffering. It does not want that. It wants something more. Okay? To climb to higher altitudes, to get a greater scope, to transform his lower nature. This is always a natural impulse of man as soon as he has made his place for himself in the physical and vital world of earth and has a little leisure to consider his farther possibilities. The challenge of the unknown is to man something fundamental, even in the physical world. If there is a mountain to be climbed, he will climb it. If there is a space he will want to do, he will want to go to it. So now he is thinking even of colonizing Mars. So always the unknown challenges him to explore. In the material field, in the psychological field also. Okay, so little later to consider further possibility. It must be so, not because of any false and pitiful imaginative illusion in him, but first because he is the imperfect, still developing mental being and must strive for more development, for perfection, and still more because he is capable, unlike other terrestrial creatures, of becoming aware of what is deeper than mind, of the soul within him, and of what is above the mind, of supermind, of spirit, capable of opening to it, admitting it, rising towards it, taking hold of it. So man can do all this. He can go up, he can not only imagine and aspire to go up, but he can go up. That's what Srimati is saying. It is in his human nature, in all human nature, to exceed itself by conscious evolution, to climb beyond what he is. Okay? To climb beyond what he is. What is he? Now he is only body, mind, life, but he can climb beyond that. Not individuals only, but in time, the race also, in a general rule of being and living, if not in all its members, can have the hope, if it develops a sufficient will, to rise beyond the imperfections of our present very undivine nature and to ascend at least to a superior humanity, to rise nearer, even if it cannot absolutely reach to a divine manhood or supermanhood. At any rate, it's a compulsion of evolutionary nature in him to strive to develop upward, to erect the ideal, to make the endeavor. So man has the possibility of aspiration for something higher. That is there even in the material man. The material man wants to improve. The sense of perfection is there in him. But that becomes spiritual perfection in the man who is ready for a spiritual life.
The interesting phrase, if not in all its members.
Yes, that's right. And all members means?
The rest of humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. If not in all its members, he means that the body and the vital and the mind don't want a spiritual life. Mind maybe wants, but the vital revolts and the physical definitely does not want. Yes. That's what he means by the members. Members, body, mind, life. Okay, so I read the summary
Yes.
of what he is saying then. The developed man looks around him, turns his attention not only to what is below him, but also to what is above and within him. The animal has a static condition. It rests satisfied with what nature has given to it, lives only at a Prakriti level, Prakriti nature level. But man, not satisfied with nature within and without, turns upon her for further development. He is a Purusha Prakriti level. He is at a Purusha Prakriti level, not only at a Prakriti level. His mind is a diminished ray of the supermind. Therefore, he strives to rise in consciousness, power, bliss. He tries to rise in consciousness, power and bliss. He may not succeed fully at first because he is still imprisoned by his outer physical nature. But the urge towards perfection distinguishes him from all other beings in creation. The animal does not have a sense of perfection, but man has that sense of perfection. He does not accept his present condition. We read the next para. So, Sridhar is saying there is an evolution and it's coming from matter to life to, from matter to life in plant, life in animal and then man. So, where is it going to end? That's what Sridhar is asking now. But where is the limit of effectuation in the evolutionary being's self-becoming by self-exceeding? Where will it all end? In mind itself, there are grades of the series, and each grade again is a series in itself. There are successive elevations which we may conveniently call planes and subplanes of the mental consciousness and the mental being. Now, this is interesting what he is saying. There is matter, then there is life, then there is mind. So, in matter itself, there are various grades. There is some matter which is absolutely dead, but there is some matter which can retain some powers. Okay? For instance, we know that certain stones, precious stones,
Have a power.
Yeah, they have a power.
Yes.
If you insert them, they can have a power. Mother used even
Crystal.
rose petals and divine love petals to infuse power into them, which used to last for about a year. She says she used to change the blessing packet. So, matter is there, some inert matter is there, but there are also some forms of matter which have the capacity to bear this. For instance, nowadays we have matter which, rare minerals, which have the power to hold electricity. That's how we build our batteries. It has the power to hold that electricity and slowly release it. So, even in matter there are grades of matter. Then in life there are different grades, of course we know. Plant life and animal life, very clearly there is a difference. In the mental also, there are 3 grades, and that's what he's going to talk about. There is the physical mind, there is the vital mind, there is the pure mind. Even in nature.
Is the pure mind
The pure mind is the intelligence where
the
reason...
physical mind?
Pardon?
Is it the physical mind?
No, the physical mind is that which is busy with only physical things. It's your senses which give data to the brain, and the physical mind of the brain interprets your senses. That is what it is. The
So
physical
the pure mind is above
The pure
all
mind is
the
the
others.
highest at this level.
at the mental level, but it is not the higher mind.
No, it is not. The pure mind, or some also calls it the reason, with an R cap. He calls it reason. So that's the highest. So that's what he's going to describe in the next paragraph. So he's saying that there are grades here also. It is somewhat like the rainbow colors. Do you have absolutely a static red, blue, orange? No. There is a mixing of them. There is a gradation which come inside. Same thing happens with all these planes of consciousness. A little bit of matter is going into life, a little bit of life is coming into matter, a little bit of life is going into mind. So you have the physical mind, you have the vital mind, and you have the pure mind. Okay? That's what he's going to tell us. In mind itself, there are grades of the series, and each grade, again, is a series in itself. There are successive elevations, which we may conveniently call planes and subplanes of the mental consciousness and the mental being. The development of our mental self is largely an ascent of this stair. You go from vital mind, physical mind to vital mind to pure mind. Okay. We can take our stand on any one of them, while yet maintaining a dependence on the lower stages and a power of occasional ascension to higher levels, or of a response to influences from our being's superior strata. So, you spoke of the spiritual planes, higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind. Sometimes these come into the intelligence and you can receive them as intuitions. That also is possible, that's what he's saying. So, occasional ascension to higher levels, or of a response to influences from our being's superior strata. At present, we still normally take our first secure stand on the lowest subplane of the intelligence, which we may call the physical mental. So the physical mind is what in Indian psychology you call the manas. The manas is that part of the mind which interprets the senses. The senses are giving us images. It's falling on the retina. But don't think that you can immediately understand what it is. A baby, for instance, is seeing, is hearing, but he understands nothing. So the sense mind has to be developed to interpret these images. So that is important. So that is the physical mind. Okay? So they're calling it the physical mental, because it depends for its evidence of fact and sense of reality on the physical brain, the physical sense mind, okay? The physical sense organs. The sense organs are giving data and the physical mind is interpreting them. There we are the physical man who attaches most importance to objective things and to his outer life, has little intensity of the subjective or inner experience, and subordinates whatever he has of it to the greater claims of exterior reality. So he is talking of the man who is at a physical level of consciousness, the normal man. He doesn't think of anything, he just accepts the physical mind and the vital mind. The physical mind has a vital part, but it is mainly made up of the smaller instinctive and impulsive formations of life consciousness emerging from the subconscious, along with a customary crowd or round of sensations, desires, hopes, feelings, satisfactions, which are dependent on external things and external contacts and concerned with the practical, the immediately realizable and possible, the habitual, the common and average. So what's he saying? He's saying that the physical man also has a vital part, okay? But it's mainly made up of what? Smaller instinctive and impulsive formations of life consciousness. What does it mean? Greeds, fears, okay? Recoiling, wanting pleasantness, all these small things which are there, okay? Selfishness, all these things are there in the vital part. It's only concerned with that. The physical, the vital physical, Okay, that's what he's saying. And a customary crowd of round of sensations, desires, hopes, feelings, satisfactions. Hopes are what? Hopes are better in physical life, nothing very high, okay? Feelings, satisfactions, which are dependent on external things and external contacts and concerned with the practical, the immediately realizable and possible, the habitual, the common and average. You are satisfied with your family, you want a house, you want a good job, you want good clothes, that's all. It's common and average. Now, but man has got also a mental part. So he has a physical mind, he has a vital mind, and he has got a mental mind. He has a mental part, but this too is customary, traditional, practical, objective, and respects what belongs to the domain of mind, mostly for its utility, for the support, comfort, use, satisfaction, and entertainment of his physical and sensational existence. He has a mind, but he uses it only for physical and vital satisfactions. Doesn't use it to think of the problems of life. What is God? Is there something that is there above man? These problems, can man become immortal? What is immortality? These problems, philosophy does not concern him at all. The physical man doesn't concern him. All that is not of this order, the physical mind builds up as a restricted superstructure dependent upon the external sense mentality. Now, so there is something interesting. All that is not of this order. In other words, you may think of the future. After my education, I need a job. The animal doesn't think of the future. But man can think of the future, and if he is a physical man, he is only thinking of practical things. So even if he thinks of all that, he is only connected with his physical life. Okay. All that is not of this order, the physical mind builds up a restricted superstructure dependent upon the external sense mentality. So he can imagine that he is going to have a good job, he imagines that he can have a good house, a good family. So these are not physical things. They are imaginative things which he is projecting into. So all that also is basically down to the physical he brings. Nothing more than that. Okay. Even so, it regards these higher contents of life as either helpful adjuncts or a superfluous but pleasant luxury of imaginations, feelings, and thought abstractions, not as inner realities. So even if it thinks of all these things, they are not inner realities. They are all related only to the physical world. Or even if he receives them as realities, it does not feel them concretely and substantially in their own proper substance. It treats them as a subjective, less substantial extension from physical realities. For instance, what Sylvia is saying, even if he feels thought abstractions and imagination, he can think of God. But God only in terms of how he can be helped in life. So that's all, nothing more than that. That's what Sylvia is pointing out. Okay, so less substantial extension of physical reality. It is inevitable that the human being should thus take his first stand on matter and give the external fact and external existence its due importance, for this is nature's first provision for our existence, on which he insists greatly. The physical man is emphasized in us and is multiplied abundantly in the world by her as her force for conservation of the secure, if somewhat inert, material basis on which she can maintain herself while she attempts her higher human developments. But in this mental formation, there is no power for progress or only for a material progress. It is our first mental status, but the mental being cannot remain always at this lowest rung of the human evolutionary ladder. This whole para, Surendra is expanded to 3 paras in the synthesis. So he says, the physical mind is interested only in maintenance of status quo. not interested in progress. The vital mind is interested in progress and change. The mental man is capable even of higher life. So this is what he says. What he's saying here is the same thing.
Long para.
Okay. But I read the summary of what he's saying here. So, he's talking about the physical mind, vital mind, and pure mind. This para describes the physical mind. Where does this evolution of development end? This self-exceeding of man, where does it lead? Is there a termination at all? So let us start from the mind. Okay? In mind itself, there are several levels, and each level itself has many grades. There are planes and subplanes. In the mind range, there are many grades, and one can station oneself on any one of them and look below. But there is also occasionally an ascent to higher levels. He is talking of different types of men. There can be physical men, there can be vital men, and there can be mental men, if you want. Okay, philosophers. He will describe all this in the next para, in the next paras. The normal man bases himself on the physical mind. This mind depends on the physical brain, the physical senses, the sense mind, which in Indian psychology is called the manas. Okay. At the level of the physical mind, man is busy with his outer practical life, daily routine, and objective facts. Even if the subjective is experienced, emotions, feelings, sensations, and thoughts, they are of secondary importance. The physical man has a vital part too, but that is restricted to sensations, petty desires, small satisfactions, etc. The mind is too preoccupied with the material world, material events and facts. All subjective psychological experiences are auxiliary, they are secondary. They lack the importance of the physical reality. Now, Siddha is saying something interesting. He's saying, this is as it should be. Okay? Nature's base is matter, and man, even when evolved with life and mind, must base himself in matter. This physical mind is the lowest rung of the mental range, and here there is no progress, no urge to improve, to be better. As I said, the physical mind is interested in maintenance of status quo. That is the reason why they stick to tradition, to habits, and they don't understand the tradition and the thing. But we continue to do that without any meaning. Okay. In every culture it is there. It's not only in India, but every culture is there. Why do you do this? Oh, because my parents have told me to do, because this, mechanically without thinking you do it.
My teacher said so.
That's it. Maintenance of status quo. The vital mind is interested in change. Vital mind is interested in change, but still very limited. The mind is wanting progress. The mind wants progress. This is as it should be. So, this is the physical mind, no progress is there. Now we go to the next para.
Yes.
Above the physical mind, now we come to the vital mind. Above the physical mind and deeper within the physical sensation, deeper within than physical sensation, there is what we may call an intelligence of the life mind. Swami is calling it the life mind or the vital mind. Okay? Which the animals have. The animals have a vital mind. The vital mind is governed by desire. So, the animal uses its mind to satisfy its desires. Food, reproduction, sleep, these things. Okay, so life mind. But it is dynamic, vital, nervous, more open, though still obscurely, to the psychic. Capable of capable of a first soul formation. Now we'll discuss the soul formation. Okay. Though only of an obscurer life soul, not the psychic being, but a frontal formation of the vital Purusha. Now, what he means by soul formation, obscurer life force, and the vital Purusha. There is consciousness from the highest to the lowest. There is consciousness even in the inconscient. But as it comes down, the consciousness starts diminishing itself, making itself more obscure, less capable, and goes on. So when it is at the physical level, it's a physical consciousness, like in matter, very, very low level of consciousness. Then when you come to the vital, it becomes the vital Purusha. The word Purusha is consciousness. So this is the vital Purusha, then there is a mental Purusha. There is actually a soul consciousness which is of that level. Okay? But the word soul, you have to understand, doesn't mean it's full of spiritual entity, no. It's an entity, it's a personality which is mental or which is vital or which is physical. Okay. But it is essentially the consciousness. That's why it is this, he is calling it the soul. Even the soul in us is sleeping. Okay, is not awake. So, this life soul concretely senses and contacts the things of the life world. Now that's interesting. What are the things of the life world? All sorts of beings exist in the life world. Elves, gnomes, all sorts of small creatures. Okay, even malignant creatures. They all exist in the vital world. And so vital mind can contact these and tries to realize them here. It attaches immense importance to the satisfaction and fulfillment of the life being, the life force, the vital nature. So it tries to satisfy. It looks on physical existence as a field for the life impulses, self-fulfillment. It wants satisfaction. For the play of ambition, power, strong character, love, passion, adventure, for the individual, the collective, the general human seeking and hazard and venture, for all kinds of life experiment and new life experience. But for this saving element, this greater power, interest, significance, the physical existence would have for it no value. So, this is the nature of the vital, simply saying. It has got love, passion, adventure, ambition, power, strong character. This is the vital man. You can very often see that there are people of that nature. Okay, so the vital is predominant in them. Okay. This life mentality is supported by our secret subliminal vital being and is in veiled contact with a life world to which it can easily open and so feel the unseen dynamic forces and realities behind the vital, the material universe. Now, simply speaking of the secret subliminal being. Universally, there is matter, life and mind. Universally, there are subtle matter, subtle vital, subtle mind. And then you go into the subliminal fields of consciousness, what Srivastava calls the subliminal or the intraconscient. So there is a vital mind and that is in contact with the vital world. It senses all these things. That's what Srivastava is saying. So he is talking of the intraconscient. The inner vital, what Srivastava calls the inner vital or the subliminal vital. Just as you have the subtle physical, you have the subtle vital, or you can call it the inner vital, and there is an inner mind which is far more capable. The inner mind is more capable than the outer mind. And it is sending sometimes. When you can't solve a problem sometimes, you wake up suddenly next day and you feel problem is solved. The inner mind has given the solution. So if you can contact the subliminal being, lot of things get solved. Similarly, the vital also, the inner vital, which is really powerful. The outer vital is not so powerful. It has got power, but it is nothing compared to the inner vital. Okay, so Similarly, the subtle physical. That's what Swami is talking about. This life mentality is supported by our secret subliminal vital being. Note the word supported. It is far more powerful and it supports the vital. The subliminal vital supports the vital here. The subliminal mind supports the mind. Behind the material universe. And we can easily open and so feel that unseen dynamic forces and realities behind the material universe. There is an inner life mind which does not need for its perceptions the evidence of the physical senses. Okay, there you are. So Srivanda uses the word direct. This sentence will go a little into detail. There is an inner life mind which does not need for its perceptions the evidence of the physical senses. Is not limited by them. Okay, so he has explained in the Life Divine. Very interesting. This is the Life Divine only, but in the other chapter. Okay, so he says, for instance, that if I want to weigh something, I have to weigh it physically. But if I use the inner sense, the inner manas or the vital, okay, I can have the capacity of taking something in my hand and accurately tell the weight of it. So that is the inner vital. The inner vital is, that's what he's talking about. Okay, look at the sentence. This secret mentality is supported by our secret that we have read. There is an inner life mind. The inner life mind is the inner vital mind, which does not need for its perceptions the evidence of the physical senses, is not limited by them. For on this level, our inner life and inner life, our inner life and the inner life of the world becomes real to us independent of the body and of the symbols of the physical world, which alone we call natural phenomena, as if nature had no greater phenomena and no greater realities than those of gross matter. This is very not uncommon at all. There are people who can use the subliminal. It's not uncommon. There are people who have got this capacity. So they are called spirit. Okay, they can go into the and sense things. Part of it is also true about crystal gazing, or even the pendulum. Okay, there is a part truth in it. Not that everybody is doing it can say, but there are people who can crystal gaze and tell you because they are in touch with the inner vital mind.
Is there not often beings who support?
Yes, there are beings also who support and misguide also.
And misguide, exactly.
Okay, but what is interesting is that suppose somebody is missing. Okay, in fact, it's strange. I am straying a little bit, but in India, 80,000 children go missing every year. 80,000 children go missing. So it's not uncommon. It happens even in the West. Okay, a child may stray away and go and get lost. Okay, I remember when I was young, I was lost, and I was taken to a police station, and from there my parents picked me back. So it can happen. So suppose somebody is missing, the police usually contact these people who have got this sense. So they will touch something that the person has used, and with that vibration, they come to know about the person who is there. That's what Swami is calling the inner mind, and not using physical senses. Okay, they are using what Swami calls direct knowledge. So first there is sense knowledge, which is indirect knowledge. I am saying a little bit, but it's interesting because you have to connect what he is saying. There are 4 types of knowledge. The first is sense knowledge. Between my knowledge and the physical world, there are my senses. If my senses are not there, I will never come to know the physical world. But if you go into the intraconscient or the subliminal, you can not use the senses and come to know the reality. This is what Swami is talking about here.
In the West, they call it psychic ability.
Right. That's exactly what I was saying. They call them psychics.
Yes.
And it is, as I said, it's not uncommon. They do get people. And Not that they are invariably correct, but they can. It's possible. Okay. So that's what Swami is mentioning, which is in one sentence he is mentioning it very casually. Okay, so the vital man, molded consciously or unconsciously by these influences, is the man of desire and sensation, the man of force and action, the man of passion and emotion, the kinetic individual, full of energy. He may and does lay great stress on the material existence, but he gives it, even when most preoccupied with its present actualities, a push for life experience, for force of realization, for life extension, for life power, for life affirmation, life expansion. Similarly, using all these words attached to life, okay? Realization, extension, power, affirmation, expansion, everything but vital, which is nature's first impetus towards enlargement of the being. At the highest intensity of this life impetus, he becomes the breaker of bonds, the seeker of new horizons, the disturber of the past and present in the interest of the future. So those who are capable of leading changes, revolutions, okay. We can think of many examples are there, those who can call a revolution. They have this capacity and they are usually full of vital force. Martin Luther in Germany broke away from the Christian and created the Protestant movement. So that is one such thing, we will come later. Or you can think of Lenin, who caused a revolution there. Okay? Or in France also the revolution by these type of people. Okay? There are many, many characters there, but this is what Swami is speaking about. They bring about changes. Okay, so yeah, a disturber of the past. Note the word disturber of the past. The past is not correct. We have to go beyond the past and present in the interest of the future. He has a mental life which is often enslaved to the vital force and his desires and passions, and it is these he seeks to satisfy through the mind. But when he interests himself strongly in mental things, he can become the mental adventurer, the opener of the way to new mind formations, or the fighter for an idea, the sensitive type of artist, the dynamic poet of life, or the prophet or champion of a cause. The vital mind is kinetic and therefore a great force for the working of the evolutionary nature. So, he has spoken about the physical man, he has spoken about the vital man. Now next he will speak about the mental man.
We have 5 minutes.
So what I'll do
You
is...
want to do summary?
Yeah, that's right. So, next in the mental range is the life mind or the vital mind. It is higher and deeper than the physical mind. The physical mind corresponds to matter. The vital mind corresponds to the life plane in the universe, which is a superior and subtler plane above the material. Its nature is vitality, energy, drive to expand, to succeed, to conquer, to possess. It is supported by the subliminal inner vital, which we have discussed. Subliminal inner vital we have discussed. Okay. Same also calls it the intraconscient. Therefore, the vital mind can get into touch with the universal life plane. It looks at the physical world as its playground, its backyard, field for its own activity. It aims always at satisfaction, fulfillment of its desires, its wants, needs, ambitions. The inner life mind that supports the outer vital mind does not need the physical senses because it uses the subtle senses of the manas. If man identifies with the inner vital mind, then the inner life world becomes for him more real than the physical world. The man who lives in the vital mind rather than the physical mind becomes a man of desire, sensation, passion, ambition, action, push for experience. He can become the adventurer, the explorer, the seeker for new experience. He can become the breaker of bonds, rejecter of the old and the past, champion of a cause. He can become the artist, the poet. Kinesis, force, drive are his nature. This is the kinetic man. Next is the mental man.
Thank you,
But
Ranga.
I think we have
We have many people tonight. Namaste.